Hello beautiful people, it's Ifoma here. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial we are going to be teaching you how to draft this beautiful 3-part corset with a basque waistline. So if this looks like what you're interested in, please watch to the end and hit the like button, subscribe and share this video. Let's get into the video. So we are going to begin this pattern drafting with a basic bodice. Alright, so if you don't know how to do that, kindly look closely to see how we are doing this. Okay, so the first measurement we are taking is our shoulder to bust point. That is the first measurement. Then our shoulder to under bust point, our shoulder to half length, and then because this has a basque waistline, our shoulder to the length of the basque. Okay, you have to take this measurement on your body. Then I'm just going to repeat this measurement here so I will get a straight line. So having gotten this, I'm just going to connect this with a straight line. Okay, so when we have gotten this, the first thing we are going to do is to take our shoulder measurement, which we don't actually need in this case, but because we want to draft out a basic pattern for better understanding, we're just going to take it, right? So this is our shoulder measurement, and our shoulder line we are going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so having done that, we're just going to come down on our neck by 3 inches. This is just the basic neckline, and we don't really need this neck measurement. Okay, so I'll just quickly do that. So on our shoulder line, we are going to come down by our armhole measurement. So to get your armhole, we say this all the time in our channel, to get your armhole, you divide your bust measurement by 6 inches and then you add 1.5 inches. Okay, so when you've gotten that, that line is going to be your chest line. Okay, so here we have our chest line, our bust line, under bust, waistline, and our hip line. This is not necessarily our hip line, but that is where the basque effect is going to stop, so let's just call it our hip line. So the next thing we are going to do is to get our armhole curve, which we do by dividing our armhole line by 2 and coming in the center by 1/2 inch. Okay, so at this point we are done with this side. Okay, the first thing we are going to do to start drafting this corset now is to get our bust point, our nipple to nipple measurement. Then we divide it by 2. We're going to mark the point on the waistline, on the hip line, on the chest line, and on the under bust line. So after doing that, we're just going to connect these lines. We are going to input your dart line, your nipple to nipple measurement on your waistline, your hip line, your waistline, your under bust line, and your bust line. You are going to connect it with a straight line. Okay, so after that, the next thing you are going to do is to divide this your shoulder measurement from the tip of your neck to the tip of your shoulder. You divide it by 2. Whatever you have as the half, whatever you have at the half, you are going to place a mark on that half, and then you're going to connect it to this bust line with a straight line. Okay, so having done that, the next thing you're going to do is to take your darts. Okay, on the waistline we are going to go in and out by 1/2 inch. You're going to do the same thing on the hip line. So when you've gotten that, you are going to come down by 1 inch from the bust line like this, and you're going to connect these lines. Okay, so after you've gotten that, the next thing you're going to do is we are going to start drafting this corset now. Okay, so on the corset line, on this bust point, you're going to take your measurement from your bust point to your under bust point. Okay, in my case I have 3.5. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a circle using that 3.5, making sure that the tip of your tape is in the middle of your bust line. Okay, so I'm just going to make a mark using that 3.5. Okay, so when you are done doing this, next thing you are going to do is you are going to go out by 0.2, quarter of an inch on your under bust from wherever your dart stops, the normal dart we made stop. Okay, so from there you're just going to connect it back to your normal dart or your waistline. Okay, so when you're done doing that, you're just going to connect it to your bust line, to this place. Okay, so when you have achieved this, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take the measurement between this place. Okay, you're going to take the measurement, whatever you have, you're going to give the bigger part to the side going outside and the smaller part to the part going outside. Okay, so what I have here is 1.25, so I'm going to give 0.8, that is 6/8 to this part going outside, and I'm going to give half to this side going inside. Okay, so if you add them together, it will be 1.25. Okay, so after I have done that, on this your chest line, you can decide to come in by half, or you can decide to go up by half, depending on how open you want your corset to be. But I want mine to be just very open, so I came down by half and I went in by half as well. Okay, so this is what we have here. So from here, the next thing you are going to do is to connect, use your straight line to connect here. Okay, connect this mark here back to your bust line, this one too back to your bust line as well, starting from here, because this is the mark you made when you were taking the round measurement. So you're just going to, I'm just extending these marks here so I can connect it with a straight line. So when I've gotten this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come out by these two darts. I'm going to come out by 0.2 inches each on each side to avoid gaping in your corset. Just come out by 0.2 inches, and then you connect it back to this line. So after you have done this, the next thing you are going to do is to come to this place. This line you have here, from this point to this point, you are going to divide it by 2. You're going to divide it by 2. So whatever you have, you're going to make a point there, and from there you're going to come down by half of an inch. Okay, so from that half of an inch, you're going to make a straight line across. Yeah. So from there, you're just going to use your curve to connect the tip of your corset. Okay, so this is what we have here, and from there you are going to connect this one as well. I'm going to connect this one as well. Okay, so this one is one part of the cup, and for this one too, we are also going to connect whatever you have here to this 1/2 of an inch you came in with. And you're also going to connect these dots. Okay, so this is the second part of your cup. Okay, so when you have gotten to this place, you are almost done with this drafting. The next thing you're going to do is, since this is a 3-piece corset, what you're going to do is on the outside, on the center front, this is the center, right? So on the part going to the center, you are going to go down by 2 inches. And on the part, on the center of your cup, this particular part, you're going to go down by 2.5. You're going to do the same thing. This one, go down by 2.5, and here go down by 2 inches. Then you connect these dots. Okay, so this is your 3-piece corset. So the next thing you're just going to do is to start inputting your measurements. Okay, so on your bust line, you're going to put your bust measure circumference divided by 4. Then this dart, whatever you have in the middle here, what I have is 2 inches. I'm going to replace it here, and I'm going to add 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So this sewing allowance depends on what you want to add. If you want to add more than 1, if you want to add 1, if you want to add 4, it depends on what you want for the sewing allowance. And on the under bust, I'm going to do the same thing. Divide my under bust by 4, sorry, and then add whatever I have here. What I have here is 1.2. Add it, then add your sewing allowance. You're going to do the same thing for your waist. You're going to do the same thing for your waist. Add whatever you have here, and then add your sewing allowance. Okay, so for this one, you're supposed to add your hip measurements if you are making something that is up to your hip, but what I'm making is what I'm going to connect to the waistline, because it's a bust effect. So I'm not putting my measurements here. What I'll just do is I'll connect these 3 dots. Okay, so I'll connect these 3 dots, and from there I will take my measurement, because I want the down to be 5 inches wide. Since it's not going to be a pointed basque, it's going to be a basque with this effect. So I want that effect to be 5 inches. So I take 5 inches measurement from the center here, and I add whatever it is I'm taking away from the dart, which is 1 inch. Then I'll connect it to the waistline. Okay, so this is what I have. This marker is almost finished. I just hope you are seeing what I'm drawing with it. Okay, so this is what it looks like after we are done drafting. Okay, so this is all for the front of this cup. I'm just going to go ahead and cut all these things out. I'm just going to go ahead and cut them out. So this is it. Okay, so let me just label this before we forget, this is the arrow showing that this is the center front and this is the side front. Okay, so this is the arrow, and then this one we are going to cut it out on another paper to be one piece because it's a 3-piece corset. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it on another paper, and look at this one, I didn't cut it out, I just folded it away because we will not be needing it. Okay, folded it away because we will not be needing it, and we don't want to follow this put our darts like this. We don't want to have any joining on this dart area, so I just folded it away because our dart is not going to be straight like this. We are going to put our dart the way we want. Okay, so for this part I'm just going to cut it out on another piece of fabric paper. Okay, so this is how we are going to place it together. So we place it together like this, and we're going to cut it out together. Because we want it to be one piece. So this is what we have after we are done joining this part and cutting it as one. Okay, so this is the first, this is the second, and this is the third part of our 3-piece corset. So right now we are going to go ahead to start drafting the back pattern. The front pattern on another fabric, I opened up my dart because we also want to get the dart for the back, right? So I opened up my dart, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to make a point. This is the center of my dart. Okay, remember my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. That's how we got our dart. And I'm just going to trace here. This is the waistline because the back is going to be stopping on our waistline. Okay, so we're just going to trace the rest of the measurement. I'm going to trace the rest of the measurement like this. Okay, we're going to make a dot here. So having done this, we're just going to remove the back that has nothing, there's nothing hard on the back part. Okay, drafting the back part is not difficult. So after I've done this, I'm just going to connect these two dots. So this is our dart. So we are supposed to add a zipper allowance. So notice I did not add any zipper allowance. Okay, that is because this corset is not going to have a zipper. It's going to have a lacing at the back. Okay, so I'm not adding a zipper allowance. So on the center back, I came down by 1 inch because I don't want it to be straight, I want it to be slanted. So I'm just going to connect that, this point to this point here. My marker is almost finished. I just hope it takes us to the end of this class. Okay, so this is our back. So what I'm going to do now is to take away our darts, which is 0.5 inches on both sides. And then we're just going to connect it to the chest line. Okay, so this is it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this out, and like we did for the front, we are also going to fold away our dart. So I just folded away my darts here. So I'm going to place this on one fabric, and we're going to cut it to be one fabric with no dart. Okay, so this is just, that is all for this pattern. So in the next tutorial, we are going to show us how we put this pattern together. Okay, we're going to show us in the next tutorial how we are going to sew this together. Okay, so that's all for this tutorial, and I will see you again in the next one.